I think I am in an abusive relationship and needing an escape plan plus 6-year update. I am not the oop. Oop is you, Archgirl. I think I am in an abusive relationship and needing an escape plan plus 6-year update. Originally posted to R2X chromosomes. Thanks to you, Soe Herder, for suggesting this. Bo are you. Trigger warning. Financial abuse. ID theft. Controlling behavior and abuse. Less than. Original post June 29, 2017. I think my boyfriend of 3 years is financial abusing me. And everything went too fast and now I feel trapped. I immigrated to Austria 3 years ago and met a guy at work and we started dating. He came with the story that he had a vasectomy. So no babies, but tell that to my pregnant self a couple of months later. I felt really ashamed as every time he told the story from the vasectomy to doctors or someone else, I felt like a cheater. I never cheated. We decided to keep the baby. So then I was pregnant and unemployed, as I had only a temporary job when I arrived. I had saved a little money while working and he said he would take care of everything during pregnancy and that when the baby came I would get childcare assistance from the country. We moved to an apartment and everything looked good. He asked me to put the internet and cable bill in my name as he was paying everything else, then also a car and car insurance in my name. I agreed as he said he would pay and he was putting a roof over my head. By the time the baby comes I am still thinking everything is okay. But then, we have stress about the citizenship. I wanted the baby to have dual, but until now she only has Austrian and he refuses to make the second. She is already 2 years old. I doubt he will agree to make it. I don't ask anymore. Then comes the time for paperwork and he says that it takes time for the childcare money to come. He had access to my account so that he can take care of it. Or so I tough. I never got the childcare. Until today I don't know why. He said it was missing my resident permit and he was also making it. Never made it. He decides he isn't happy where we are living and wants to move to the other side of the country, with the excuse that he wants to be closer to his family. I say goodbye to my friends. I had some but not many. And so we move. One day he says he is having trouble with my Austrian debit card and he asked me the code for my home country bank card. I was with my daughter and just wanting to go home, so I gave him so he could finish paying the supermarket. After that he keeps the cards with him almost all the time. Uses the ATM and only gives me cash and keeps both of my bank cards. We have a fight. Not physical. He never hit me. And he says he will leave me. As he gives me the cards back, he starts having problems with the landlord, so we move again. We would stay a couple months and then move. One day before moving day he says that he doesn't have money for the deposit and I have the option to ask my parents for money or we sleep under a bridge and take our daughter to an orphanage. That was the moment I stopped trusting him. He had showed me for over a week a fake key for our new house. He used that so that I had to beg my parent for money. It went all to him. He used a couple €1,000 in maybe 2 or 3 months. When it was time for me to start to look for work he sabotaged me all the way through. I applied for a job that I liked but they were taking their time to decide as I didn't speak German so well. Of course I kept looking. As soon as I found one, the day before I started he made a story that the first job had contacted him and was giving me a contract, that I shouldn't go for this second job. He even pretended to call the first company and then he would always say, "You heard me taking to them, didn't you? You understood everything I said?" Quote, I started noticing that his phone calls looked fake. One time the phone even rang in the middle of one of his calls. I was desperate for work because I needed it to have a residence permit in the country though my work. He said he couldn't make though we living together. And he tricked me always with my dream job. that they had called him and were only finishing the paperwork to give me the contract. With luck I ended finding a job. He stayed with our daughter because he said he was too sick to work. After 1 week he says I have to quit, that he can't manage the kid. If I don't quit he will call them to quit me. After many discussions I stay at this job, where I am still working. In the first couple months he still uses my bank card. He keeps sending it in overdraft. Hundreds in negative. When my paycheck comes it hardly covers everything. And he stays in the house. Says his back hurts. That he doesn't know what type of work he wants. Always an excuse. In my 3rd month of work I found out my wages are starting to get garnished for something he said he paid months ago. He says he will fix. He will pay it. And it is the internet from our first apartment. From when I was pregnant. Unemployed, and he said he would always pay it. After some months our daughter goes to kindergarten and he ends up finding a job. I keep getting angry because he keeps taking my bank card and using without telling me even while he has his own money. He even went to open a second account in my name to use as his one, where he would keep his money in secret from me. I believe he make this account so that the courts can't find his account through his name. I have complete access to this account now. He receives his paycheck there. I only let him have a debit card but not online access. So he can't take credit or anything. Planning on closing it after he gets and picks up his next paycheck. Last week he started working late and I come home before him. In the mail were late payment notice in my name. Stuff that I never knew wasn't paid. My favorite debt is my last year birthday gift. He insisted I get new glasses. I couldn't even ask the price. It was a surprise for me. Really lovely, would you think? Not even when I picked them days later the man from the shop said everything was due. My surprise is now, when I get a letter from court where I owe the glasses. My birthday gift. And that this letter was the 5th or 6th due payment notice. He was hiding my mail and probably tossing it in the trash. I decide to go to the courthouse to see what's up, and I have many debts. Some from stuff I never heard about. Some from stuff he said he paid, and some from stuff that he took money from my account to pay. Courthouse said he never paid even €1 for my debts, and his own debts are only being paid by wage garnishing. Now I keep my cards by me. And I am replacing them with new codes. When I say I want him to go away he uses now our daughter CU study not to go. Some time ago he even tried to scare me because if I wanted my daughter, I would have to go through his lawyer. That he says is one of the best. I am scared from the future. He has an aggressive personality. I am afraid from when he is alone with our daughter. He never hit me, but I feel constantly walking on eggshells. I am afraid that my job fire me and I wouldn't even be able to collect unemployment. I don't even know if I could take my daughter to my home country with me, so that at least I could live with my parents rent-free. I am going tomorrow to a lawyer but have not even an idea where to start to talk. I think I may consider therapy also in the future. Update 1 year after original post March 4, 2018. Some months have passed since this and I would like to make an update of my current situation. I decided to stay in Austria as I still think is the best for me and my child future. There are some more details that went into the decision as my child is special needs with a bigger public support here as in Portugal, and also that she has only Austrian citizenship. I am not sure how that would turn out if I just left the country with her. I went to a lawyer and his advice was that the first priority was to get myself a place. He indicated me the way to get a social housing apartment through the city council, where I am staying for the past 6 months with my daughter. After that the lawyer started to try to get me out of some debts that I haven't made myself in. We're still in court. The ones that I have signed or were already thought judgment unfortunately stayed, and I have started to paying them. I am lucky that my family helps me and I am able to manage it. I was also able to get on some welfare and mandatory child support. In November, my ex went to jail for the frauds that he had committed. Although he is there until the end of the year, it wouldn't surprise me that he would get extra time, as he had made extra debts and frauds that are not still accounted in the sentence. He is also labeled as someone untrustworthy by police and in the nearby community. As this is really a small city, I don't think he has a chance to turn this back on me as I am the bad guy or something. I have also tried to get sole custody of my daughter, which came thought as of last week. Because him being in jail and not replying to my sole custody request, it way a simpler process than I have thought would be. I would like to thank everyone who commented on my first post. That helped me to realize the severity of the situation and the damage that was already made. It helped cemented that decision to leave him as quick as possible. Update 6 years later, January 28, 2024. My first ever Reddit post is I think I am in an abusive relationship and needing an escape plan. No violence. Followed by an update. After 6 years, I can proudly say that my life now is pretty boring. I tried to protect my daughter's right to have contact with their father, keeping casual encounters centered around her, always supervised. But that ship also sailed away. As I had suspected, my ex got his sentence extended and stayed over 3 years in jail, where he would get some free weekends and I would let him visit us. As soon as he completed his sentence, he made a last visit, didn't make any more effort to keep contact with us and refused to pay child support. As much as I think my daughter had this contact right, it stopped making sense. For the last years, we don't have any contact with my ex, and the only thing between us is the court-mandated child support. That is managed through CPS. I keep contact my daughter's grandmother, but she also didn't keep contact with her son, and we hardly speak about him. I kept sole custody and requested my daughter double citizenship. My daughter started school in 2021 and everything was pretty ordinary. I didn't particularly like my daughter's school system. So in 2022 we made a leap of faith and packed all your things and moved to Vienna. Everything went way better than I ever thought. New daughter's school is great. We found a good apartment which I was free to decorate as I like. I was able to keep my pretty boring job. I have complete control of my finances and I am free to make any decision I want. We are in a very stable condition, financially secure, with lots of healthy routines. We started to build a network of friends. I now have contact with my daughter's disability association. I started attending single mothers events. I participate in my neighborhood community gardening project. It is great to feel that I am part of multiple communities. I enjoy my independent life and am so happy that all the reasons that motivated my first Reddit post is just a distant memory. ## editor's note. Again, please remember the no brigading rule. Do not DM OOP or comment on their posts. This is becoming a serious problem on this sub and we don't want to get banned. This is a repost sub IAM, not the OOP. Boring updates are the best because it means no more problems, drama, and bad things happening. Glad to hear that Op and the daughter are safe and doing well after with what they went through. BF is still a terrible person, but glad he actually got to serve in prison for what he's done. I would like to go to Vienna someday. Such a boring update, I love it. I'm so happy for her. She did all the right things in a horrible situation and got out. I have also tried to get sole custody of my daughter, which came thought as of last week. Because him being in jail and not replying to my sole custody request, it way a simpler process than I have thought would be. Yeah, I imagine jail will definitely affect custody law. Good for OOP. It's amazing how fast she got placed in public housing when she needed it. I had to look at that part again to make sure I read it right. I wish U.S. public housing for DV victims and anyone else who needs it worked as efficiently as this. I do love me some boring updates. I'm so happy for Oop. It sounds like she and her daughter are thriving. And Vienna is such a great city to be thriving in too. When she first mentioned he asked for her debit card, I knew he was going to put her in debt. But him keeping it? This actually made me wince. Oh, this poor woman. He thought he had gotten the perfect victim. I'm glad she is having a boring, normal life. And he is in jail. We know it's not always like this. Glad this ended well for her. Boring update like this are the best kind of updates. What a satisfying update. I'm so happy for Oop. And wish her and her daughter a lifetime of boring, as she calls her life now. Although it sounds very fulfilling. I get why it's boring, after all she went through to get there. And good on Mill for maintaining their relationship. Reminds me of my gran. After my parents split, she chose us, and stayed in our lives while her son vanished into the ether. Hands clapping. Another story of a woman who has escaped a financially abusive relationship and was able to succeed after shedding the dead weight. Don't call this update boring. This update is heartening. This update is wholesome. This update is positive. Seeing people get out of bad situations and make their lives into something positive. That's what we want to see in the world. Boring is good. This seems to be a happy ending. I'm very confused. Forgive me for being one of those people. But how come a Portuguese citizen needed a permit to work in Austria? Both countries are in the EU. Same with her worries about not being able to bring her daughter to Portugal without her having Portuguese citizenship. Doesn't matter, she has automatic freedom of movement. Also, CPS doesn't exist in Austria. That's a US thing. It would just be family services. I could use more boring updates like that. This woman is a hero and an inspiration. I hope that her child realizes what she managed to do for her. And how hard she worked to get there. My ex got his sentence extended and stayed over 3 years in jail, where he would get some free weekends and I would let him visit us. Why? 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 This is a wonderful update. I'm so glad Oop was able to make a good life for herself and her child. This outcome gives hope to so many people that our bad situation can improve. Congratulations on your new happy life. Enjoy every second.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.